so much for allowing me to be here with you on this holiday weekend while you are grieving. My topic today is You're not grieving, your grief is invisible. I've done a little series this week on what does grief actually mean? What was the meaning of grief that you got from it? What was the meaning of your relationship? What was the meaning of your relationship with your person? What was it like to be absolutely um, without your person and trying to figure out um, who you are now without them? That's kind of where we went this week, and so I'm keeping on that same series. Sherry said I did okay yesterday, but not okay today. It is not uncommon for you to fall apart the day after the holiday. It is not uncommon for you to fall apart the day after the holiday. Hey, Sandra, it's not uncommon for that. Why? Because we force ourselves to be strong and make it through the holiday. We force ourselves to be strong so that we can make it through the holiday. We know that a holiday is coming. Even if you did not celebrate the 4th of July, even if it wasn't a holiday that you and your person celebrated. Everyone around you is celebrating it. The fact that everyone around you is celebrating it and there's this feeling of energy in the air around the holiday, hey Kathy, people are going to feel that energy of the holiday. We feel the energy of the holiday. So what do? We're like, I got this, and we hold on. And we hold on as tight as we can. And we hold on for dear life. And we make it through the day. There's moments during the day where people are laughing, they're possibly drinking, they're having fun, they're playing a card game, and you're just looking over there and just feeling in your heart, man, I really miss my person. I wish they were here. There's parts like that came throughout the day, but you never really leaned into the grief. And then the next day you wake up, bam, everything you denied yesterday is showing up today. Miss Sherry, everything you denied yesterday is showing up today. So my advice to you is this: lean in to whatever's showing up. Grief sucks, and we lean into the suck. Lean in. And the part you're leaning into is the suck. Whatever's showing up for you today. And I literally mean lean in, like lean a little bit forward. What is this I'm feeling? Oh, this is sadness. I want you leaning in. Don't push back. That's what you did yesterday. I don't know that that's what you did, but that's what we did yesterday. We pushed back against the grief. We went to the party. We pretended like everything was okay. And then it became night, which was great. And we got to look at the fireworks, and it was dark in there. So we're sitting around, it was dark, and we're like, oh, he should be here. She should be here. And if that wasn't the case, if you didn't do the fireworks, you went home and either went to bed or maybe you grabbed a glass of wine. So whatever didn't show up for you yesterday will 100% show up for you today. And I want you to lean into it. Lean into the suck. Here's the other thing. We would be better off knowing we're going into a holiday, knowing that we're going into a barbecue. We would be so much better off if we had a grieved before we went, if we had a leaned in before we went. People are like, what do you mean? What do you mean lean in? I mean literally, thank you for the gifts, my friends. I literally mean if you had allowed the grief to be there even for 5 minutes, for 3 minutes, for 4 minutes, just get yourself to sit, get a good cry in, talk about them to yourself, share it with someone else, look at photos of them. Friday night would have been a great time to lean in. Friday night would have been a great time to lean in. Get in your bed, get your phone, play their music, look at the songs, get some grief energy off. It's grief energy that you're getting off. Get the grief energy off. Get the grief energy off. Allow some of that energy to release. You would have been so much better on Saturday. Um, Would it have been perfect? No, but it probably wouldn't be showing up today. It probably wouldn't be showing up today if you got it off on Friday. Just a thought. How do we prepare for grief when we know grief is coming? You wait and take it as it's coming. Okay, everybody in TikTok, hear me out. My name is Sharon Brubaker. I'm a grief specialist. I teach women how to grieve. I teach an educational program on grief and loss. Right now, I'm going to teach a lesson. And when I'm done with the lesson, I'm going to turn off the other lives and I'm going to answer all the questions. Please post your questions here. Tiffany, I promise I'm going to come back to your question. I'm going to come back to all the questions. Okay. You're not broken. You're grieving the invisible. Your grief is showing up as invisible to everyone else. People cannot see your grief. No one can see your grief. I have a granddaughter. Her name is Ever. Ever is 11 years old. Ever was diagnosed with severe autism. They told us she probably would never talk. She does talk because my daughter had a plan. She was like, that's not going to be me. I got a plan. And she worked on it. She started talking around 3.5 years old. She's severely autistic. She's on the spectrum. People say, but she doesn't look autistic. What does autism look like? What does autism look like? How do you look at somebody and say, oh yeah, they don't look autistic? Friends, the exact same thing is happening to you. People are walking up to you and they don't think you look like a griever. You do not look like a griever to them. You look typical. You look normal. You look like when I saw you last week. You look exactly the same. So, you look like this. But that doesn't mean it's not there. Because they cannot see it doesn't mean it's not there. Here's the other thing. They can't feel it either. Grievers cannot feel it either. But it doesn't mean it's not there because they don't feel your emotions and they don't feel your pain. You are not broken and you are grieving something invisible that no one else can see. You can feel fine on the outside, but on the inside, you feel so hollow and so numb. So hollow and so numb. Let's talk about something that isn't talked about a lot. Let's talk about it. Something that most people miss. Something that makes grief even harder than it already is. Can you believe that? There is something out there that will make grief harder than it already is. And we call that invisible grief. You're walking around the world, you're trying to hold it all together, while inside it feels like you're absolutely shattered. You are shattered into 1,000 pieces. Do they see that? No. Do they want to see it? No. They are our family, our friends, the people around us. They don't see that because they don't want to see it. They don't want to see it because they need everything to be perfect. They only see the outside. They see that you got up and got dressed. Oh my gosh, she's dressed. Think about this. Think about this for 1 second, you guys. Erica lost her second child. Erica's my sister. I'm 10 years older than her. She lost her second child. I had to tell her in 2015 that she had lost Donovan, that he died in a motorcycle accident. She lost her second child. She lost Austin in 2006. For most of us, we would be like, oh my gosh, she should be like this in the corner. We need to put her in a straitjacket. She's on the floor in the bathroom, rolled up into the fetal position. Honestly, if that's what we had seen, if that's what we had seen and heard, it would make sense. It would make sense that she was rolled up into a fetal position, but that's not what they saw. They saw Erica come out of the room dressed. Hi, I'm so glad you came. That's what she was doing. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. She was doing everything she could just to survive. It was taking everything she could just to survive. And I listened to, I think if you go 3 in, there's a video in here where she talks about how much drinking she was doing. It was from our old podcast. We cut it and put it in there. Hey, Becky, how much drinking she was doing just to survive. Think about this. I got up, I got dressed, I put a little lipstick on, and I walked out. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. What do you do? What do? You go through the motions. Okay, I got to make breakfast. All right, I got to do laundry. They seem the same on the outside. What they see on the outside looks okay. You got up, you got dressed. You showed up. You answer the phone. You answered the phone. Oh my gosh, you're grieving the loss of your second child and you answered the phone? You make dinner. You make breakfast. So to them, you're okay. To them being the people on the outside, oh, she got this. She's fine. She's doing just fine. You're okay to them. You are absolutely okay to them. But on the inside, you know the truth. You know you're dying. You know you're not okay. You are grieving, but the world treats you like you're not. Here's you, grieving. Here's the world. It can be anybody in the world. You are grieving. You are broken. Your heart is absolutely broken. You can't figure out how to move, how to function, how to do this. You can't figure it out, but they are moving on. Let's go shoe shopping. Hey, girl. Wow, you look so good today. You know why you look good to them? You know why you look good? Because you're standing upright. Because you are standing upright, you look good to them. But the world treats you like you are okay. And that is one of the most painful parts of this experience. That is one of the most painful parts of this experience because you expected Susie, Alan, Bob, Jerry, Mary. You expected them to be there for you. You expected them to understand what you were going through and totally show up. But they look up at you and they're like, oh, well, she's standing. That must be okay. When was the last time someone assumed that you were fine just because you looked okay? When was the last time that someone assumed you were fine just because you looked okay? Friends, you may have not recognized it as that. It could be that they just irritated you, that you just got irritated. It could, why did she say that? It just irritated you, but you weren't sure. Debbie says, I'm so glad to see you're going out. I'm so glad to see you're going out. I had to go out. I have no milk. I have no bread. I had to go out. Becky said yesterday, 3 months after my husband passed, Joanne says, 3 months after my husband passed, they expected me to be okay. Simply because I was standing up. Simply because I was in an upright position. I'm not blaming them, but we got to change the way this is done. I am not blaming them, but we have to change the way this is done. Invisible grief is the kind of grief that hides behind your eyes. I feel like, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like when I look at a griever's face, they have this look. Their eyes are not actually looking at you, but they're off in a different position, different way they're looking, they're staring off. Their face is not smiling, not happy, and it's not straight either. It's just, it's a blank stare. It's a blank stare. Debbie says, I want to say, I'm so glad I'm making you happy. You're not making them happy. I'm so glad that I'm making you comfortable. I'm so glad that I'm able to make you feel comfortable in my grief. Joanne says it's pure ignorance. Yeah. Invisible grief is the kind of grief that hides behind the eyes. It's not the sobbing kind, because the sobbing kind is visible grief. It's the kind that lives in the silence, in your empty stares, in the way you pull away from others, in the way you pretend just to get through the day. Invisible grief doesn't mean the pain is less. It means the pain has no obvious outlet. It doesn't mean it's less. It has no outlet. It doesn't mean the pain is less. It means it has no outlet. You might not even cry anymore. You're especially not crying in front of them. But because you've gone numb, because your body is so tired to release the emotion, you might not even be crying anymore. You're just exhausted in your grief. Because the world keeps telling you to move on. You know that they don't have the space for it. And here's the truth. Most people have no idea that you're still in pain. And most people have no idea that you're still in pain because you are out pretending that you are okay. You've got to take responsibility for the part you play. You have to take responsibility for the part you play in this. If you're out there pretending like everything is okay, then they're going to frickin' treat you like everything's okay. You're putting it out there to them. Because we feel we have no choice. We feel we have no choice. We feel we have no choice. Butter, I see you, sweetie. I'm teaching a lesson, and as soon as I'm done, I'll be back in here to answer any questions. Can you just tell us his first name, my love? Just his first name so we can honor him here. Most people have no idea you're still in pain. Unless they've been there too, and sometimes that's not true either. Jaden, everybody, can we tap the screen for Butter and Jaden, and also for Cammie and Ed? Tap the screen. Have you felt like you're screaming on the inside while staying silent on the outside? You are screaming on the inside. Don't you see me? My child has died. What do I do? How do I get through this? I can't do this. You are screaming on the outside and still silent on the outside. Or you're pretending. You're pretending to be okay. So they have a barbecue and you go to the barbecue, but you're absolutely broken. You go to the barbecue and they're all playing a card game. You sit over here, you're not actually in the card game, but to them, they perceive the fact that you're even at the barbecue as okay. They perceive the fact that you're there as okay. They perceive that you're okay because you sat next to them during the game. You're not playing the game. You're like this. I kid you not. You're like this. And every now and then someone looks directly at you and you go, hi. They don't even notice that you're not in the game. They don't even notice that you're not in the game. First of all, grief is already isolating. You're already isolated in your grief. But when it's invisible, that loneliness multiplies. You're already isolated, but now it's invisible. You begin to question yourself in that invisibility. Some of us like the invisibility. We don't like being seen in the grief. Some of us feel like it's absolutely okay to be invisible. I don't want to be seen in this anyway. You begin to question yourself. Maybe I'm just being dramatic. Maybe it's not them. Maybe it really is me. Maybe it's not them. Maybe it's me. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get out of this. Maybe I should be over this by now. Maybe I really am broken. Maybe there's no way out. Because you've already thought the thought, I can't do this without them. I'll never be able to do this without them. Sandra says they look for signs of normalcy. And that is so, so true, my friends. They absolutely are looking for signs of normalcy. She's standing up straight. She got dressed. Oh, look, she brushed her hair. Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. She brushed her hair. Oh, oh, she's making the kids breakfast. Like, how are you not going to show up for your own kids? The remaining the kids that are there. You're gonna make the breakfast. Hey, you normally get up and make bacon and eggs and pancakes, but this morning you made cereal and milk. But they consider that, like Sandra said, normalcy. You are not broken, you're grieving, and this grief is invisible. But when no one sees your pain, you start to wonder if it's real. And that is a cruel trick of the invisible grief. Do you hear me? That is a cruel trick of the invisible grief. When no one sees your grief, because it's invisible, you start to question everything that you're doing. And then they drop those little hints. You should be over this by now. You're still grieving that? Some beautiful lady in here, Joanne, just said after 3 months, they were like, why are you still grieving? It makes you feel like your pain doesn't count. That's why it's invisible. When no one sees your pain, you start wondering if it's real. And that's the cruel trick of invisible grief. It makes you feel like your pain doesn't count, like it doesn't count. Friends, in 2006, Austin drowned at the lake. I didn't know anything about grief. I honestly didn't know anything about grief. I walked up the stairs. My sister opened the door. I had just found out that he had drowned, that we had lost his little body. We lost him. And I didn't know anything about grief. In my mind, I thought Erica was going to grieve and it was going to be my job to support her. That's honestly what I thought. There was this other part of grief that I don't talk about as much, is that I didn't think I deserved to grieve. I didn't think I deserved to grieve. I thought, well, people are going to see it as he's just my nephew. I took myself and I put myself in a lower place. I put myself in a lower position to everyone. Granted, people were not asking me about the grief, but I put myself in a lower position. Let me show you what I mean. Here's Erica and Lewis. They had 3 kids, Donovan, Austin, and Jordan. Austin died. Here's my family, right? I have a big family. Right? Here's my family. I actually thought, oh my gosh, Erica lost her child. Erica lost her child. How do I even compare to that? So I did this thing where I put her on a pedestal and thought only she was going to grieve, not even on Donovan. And I put all of my attention on her. And I negated my own grief. I negated my own grief because I put myself lower, because I'm like, well, I'm just his aunt. I'm just his aunt who was there the day he was born. I'm just his aunt who practically raised him, had him all the time. I'm just his aunt. I'm just his aunt. And the just kept me from grieving. The just kept me from sharing my pain. The just kept me from being the person that I needed to be who was grieving. No one sees your pain, and you start wondering if it's real. I didn't even wonder if it was real, because in the just, I didn't even let it be there. It was a cruel trick of the invisible grief. My sadness became inconvenient, so I didn't share it. My silence was misread. I was standing in an upright position. And here's the deal. My numbness was mistaken as strength, and I was doing everything I could to be strong. And I want you guys to know, I see a lot of you be strong women. I see a lot of you be strong women. There's a lot of be strong women out there They're out there showing up. They're trying to do everything. They're still doing the church bazaar. They're feeding their kids. They are grieving, but they are 100% showing up as strong, because in the strong, I could keep pushing through. And the be strong was killing me. It was absolutely killing me. My silence was misread, and my numbness was showing up as strength. And in the end, I was hiding it even more. And the more you hide it, the heavier it gets. The more you hide your grief, the heavier it gets. The more you pretend that you're okay in front of everyone that's out there, the heavier the grief gets. And it becomes so heavy. What part of your grief have you been hiding because you're afraid people won't understand? What are you hiding because you're afraid people won't understand? I didn't think people were going to understand that I loved him. I didn't think they were going to understand that I absolutely loved him. I didn't think they were going to understand that I was in pain. And I'm going to tell you why, guys. And it's one of the things that I teach, and it was one of the things that I was doing. I was comparing my broken heart to her broken heart. She's the mother. She lost her child. People won't understand. I won't understand. You know what the truth was? I needed to stop comparing. My grief had nothing to do with hers. My grief had nothing to do with Erica's. My grief was 100% about me and Austin. It wasn't about Sharon and Lewis, Donovan and Sharon, Jordan and Sharon. It was about Austin and Sharon. That was it. My relationship with Austin and Sharon. That's it. But I was pretending, and I was being strong, and I was doing everything I could to stay away from the grief. Here's what invisible grief whispers. You should be over this by now. You're still grieving. Other people have it worse than you. Erica has it worse than you. She lost her child. You'll never understand what it's like to lose a child. Barbara lost her husband. You still have a husband. You don't understand. Sally lost her sister. You don't know what it's like. Sally was your best friend, but she was Mary's sister. Here's what invisible grief whispers. You should be over this by now. Other people have it worse. You're too sensitive. You're too sensitive. You're just being negative. Change your thought. Change your thought about this grief. You're just being negative. No one wants to hear about this anymore. But those are all lies. They're lies that you're telling yourself, and they're lies that you're perceiving from the world. Look, we already know the world is coming in, and they have thoughts about us. The world, all of these people have thoughts about our grief. You know what else is happening? You have thoughts about their grief. You have thoughts about the way they perceive you. I had thoughts about the way they perceived my grief. They're not going to understand. They don't get it. They don't think I should grieve. They. We allow they to control our grief. And half the time we don't even know who they are, but we're allowing them to make the rules for our grief. Let me tell you something. Nobody has the right to tell you how to grieve. No, soulful girl, you need a grief specialist. You need to come to the grief school. You need to come to the grief school and learn how to grieve. They are lies. Those are all lies that you're telling to yourself. They're doing it to you, and you're doing it about them. There are lies that your mind tells you about your heart. It lies that your mind tells you about the pain that your heart is in. Invisible grief often convinces you to gaslight yourself. Invisible grief often convinces you to gaslight yourself. You start to doubt these emotions that you're feeling. You shrink your voice so it is so little, nobody hears it. You fake being okay. But the truth is, grief isn't about time. Everybody is on a different timeline. Everybody is on a different timeline. They're not on your timeline, and you don't even know what timeline you're on. It's about love. It's about your relationship. It's about hate. And there's no expiration date. You don't get to start grieving. For me, it was June 17th, 06. And the minute you grieve, you get the paper in the mail that says when this will expire. Sharon, sometime around 9/17/06, you shall be done with your grief. And you get a certificate. Not like that. Some people grieve for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 6 months. It depends on your relationship with your person and how fast are you going to go after this. When are you going to start doing the work? It's not about time, it's about love. And there's no expiration date on love. Which of these lies about grief? Which of those lies about grief have you told? About how long it takes? Whether you're still grieving? Whether your grief is worthy? What lie have you told about your grief, and how is it shaping the way you grieve? You know what they don't see in the invisible grief? Nobody sees that you're not sleeping at night. They don't see that you're not sleeping at night. Hey, Deborah. They don't see that you're still crying. Most of them aren't even paying attention to you. Most of them aren't even paying attention to you. They don't see the way you scroll through old pictures and try not to fall apart. They don't see how you walk down the hall and refuse to look at the picture of them. They don't see you bracing yourself before you walk into the room where all of their memories are. They don't see that you go into his room because you've never taken his room apart, and you're leaning into the closet and smelling his clothes and begging God to bring him back. They don't see how you're punching the pillow, how you're screaming. They don't see how you're so mad at the world. You hate the world that has perceived you as okay. They don't see that. They don't see it. They don't see the way you forget everything. You didn't pay the bills. You forget the doctor's appointment. You're walking around like a zombie. You don't even know who you are or what direction to go in. Hey, everybody. My name is Sharon Brubaker. I'm a grief specialist. I'm the owner of the Grief School. I'm teaching a lesson. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to be in TikTok. I'm going to go back and answer all your questions. So keep posting whatever questions you have. I'll be done in just a few minutes, and I'll be there. They don't see the way you forget to buy groceries. I'm laughing, but that's true. And you're like, I don't know, we have peanut butter. Eat some peanut butter. Put it on the saltines. It'll be all right. They don't see your own thoughts. Your own thoughts about how you don't want to be here anymore. Your own thoughts about how you want to leave this earth. How you want to go be with him. They don't see that. And you know what else I know? You sure as hell aren't sharing it. You sure as hell aren't talking about it. You're not telling them about it. They don't see the fear that came along with this pain. The fear that you have to wake up in every single day. The fear of losing someone else. The fear, how are you going to make it because he was the major breadwinner? The fear of the fact that you have to sell the house. They don't see the fear that the pain might never leave you. the fear that you have that the pain might never leave you. They only see the outside, and you are perceived as typical to them. A typical mom, a typical mother, a typical wife. And you look okay to me. And they automatically assume that your insides match your outside. But it doesn't. You're showing up in the world, but inside you are still shattered. Let me say that again. You are showing up in the world, but inside you're it you at the ins you're showing up in the world, but inside you're still shattered, and they don't see that. Your heart is shattered. Your life is shattered. What is one thing? Question. What is one thing you wish others could see about your grief that they never do? What is the one thing you wish they would see, but they never see it? Here's the part no one prepares us for in grief. Here's the part that no one prepares us for. Grief doesn't make sense. Ta-da! Grief doesn't make sense. It's not logical. Grief doesn't make sense. It's not logical. You can't plan it. You can't plan your grief. Hear me out. You can plan moments to process your grief. You can say, hey, I know I'm going to this barbecue tomorrow, so today I'm going to sit here and cry as much as I can. You can do that. But you can't plan when you're going to grieve, when it's going to show up, how long it's going to last. None of that shows up in your plan. You can't predict grief. What did I say? Predict? Oh, it's not predictable. That's so wrong. ABL. It's not predictable. Predictable. One moment you feel okay. The next minute you're sobbing in your car. One minute you absolutely feel okay. The next minute you're absolutely breaking down in the car. You can't even drive. Then you take off and you drive. Tears are going down your face. You're absolutely crying. You get home. Your daughter is there. She's talking to you, and you laugh out loud at a joke. 2 minutes ago, you were broken down, but now you're laughing at a joke. You laugh, it feels good, it's a good belly laugh. You take 3 steps going towards your bedroom, and instantly you're hit with guilt for laughing. How can I enjoy? He's no longer here. What was I thinking? You want to be around people, and then you want to run away. I want to be with you. I'm going to go to the barbecue. No, I'm not going to the barbecue. Yes, I'm going to the barbecue. I'm going to go to the barbecue. It's going to be okay. You go to the barbecue and you freaking hate it. You're miserable. You're absolutely miserable. You're not going crazy, even though all of that feels like crazy. That's what life looks like. I'm sorry, that's what grief looks like. It doesn't have a clear place to land. Grief does not have a clear place to land. It circles inside of you, waiting to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be felt, to be talked about, to be learned how to deal with. You're not unstable. You're carrying a weight that no one can see. They can't see it. And if they can't see it, They will not respect it. And if they don't respect it, they're not going to be there for you. And if they're not going to be there for you, you're going to feel all alone. And if you feel all alone, your grief starts to feel invisible. You see what's happening there? Friends, if you have one person to show up for you in your grief that will allow you to cry with them, talk about it, be there, be a heart with ears and listen to your grief, consider yourself lucky. Consider yourself lucky. Because there are so many of us that have no one. Have you been mistaking your emotional shifts for instability? So, just what I just said. You're in the car, you're crying, you come home, your daughter tells you a joke, you laugh, a belly laugh, and then all of a sudden you feel guilty. All of that happens in the same 30 minutes. Are you perceiving that as instability instead of seeing it as normal parts of grief? You're not in an unstable situation. Man. Wow. So how do we make our grief visible? How do we make our grief visible? Number one, you cry. You cry because for them, crying and tears is grief. I'm here to tell you that tears are not a sign of grief. Tears are a sign of love. Tears are a sign of pain. Tears are how we move the energy in our heart. Tears are how we move the brokenness. But to them, tears are grief. Maybe that way to you too. Because a lot of people come to me and say, but I cried already. So number one, we cry. Number two, we talk. Grievers have to talk. They want to talk. They need to talk. They're not just talking about the weather. Grievers aren't just talking about the weather. They're talking about what the hell just happened to them. You have to talk. And sometimes you're going to be talking about what happened, what you were thinking, what they said, what you said, your reaction, your relationship. That's just a few of the things. You're going to talk about this. What happened, what you were thinking, what they said, what you said, your reaction to it, and your relationship. And then you're going to go like this. You're going to go like this, and you're going to go like this, and you're going to go like this, and then you're going to go like this and like this, and then you're going to repeat it, and then you're going to talk about it, and then you're going to talk about it, and then you're going to talk about it. And if there's nobody here to hear this, where do you lay this? If you have nobody here willing to hear this story over and over and over again, where the hell are we supposed to live this? Why are you talking about all of this over and over and over again? Because it's an out-of-body experience. Because you've never experienced grief before. Because you don't know what to do with this. You talk about it over and over again. Here's the other thing. In the beginning, you might only be doing the crying. You're not ready for the talk. You might say, it might include some talk, but it'll be small. Because here you're repeating the same sentences over and over again. I can't do this. I can't do this without them. I need them. How did this happen to me? I'm a good person. Why? And all of that's coming from the brain. And then you have this urge to talk about it. But you're only going to talk about little parts of it. Little bitty parts of it. And sometimes you can't get it all out. Sometimes there's only a little bit that you can get out. Why talk? Because the talking makes it real. The talking brings the heart and the brain together. The heart has the pain. The brain has the thoughts. And the thoughts are trying to run the situation. But when you talk about it, they start to come together. When you talk about it, they start to come together. So how do we begin to make this invisible visible? We talk about it. We say the things that we were told not to say. We say the things that we were told not to say. This is the exact reason that I ask you the name. Because sometimes here, all we can say is their name. Sometimes here, all we want to say is their name. Maybe all you can say is their name. Maybe you can't even say their name. But it's why I ask you the name. To make it, I want you and your person to come into the room. I want you and your person to come towards me. Say their name. There are things that people are telling you not to say. Well, don't say that you're never going to get over this. Don't say that. People won't understand. Don't say that. Say the things that we were told not to say. Call out the pain for what it is. Name the pain. Name the numbness. Name the exhaustion. Talk about that. That's sort of under here is where we're naming everything. So we cry, we talk, and we stop pretending. The pretending goes on for a while, so no, I don't think anyone ever called you out for pretending before, and so we don't realize that we are pretending. We're pretending for two reasons. We're pretending to make them feel more comfortable, and we're also pretending to make ourselves feel more comfortable. So we got a double whammy there, and it's working, so we keep doing it. As long as it's working, we keep doing it. We need to talk. We need to cry. We need to talk. We need to stop pretending. Just because you stop pretending does not mean you're going to stop telling them that everything is okay. You're going to tell the truth. You tell the truth about yourself always in your grief. But it does mean you're giving permission. You're giving them permission to tell the truth. You're giving yourself permission to tell the truth. Most times, if you're going to be telling the truth, you're going to be the one that goes first in the talking. Because they're not going to ask you. You have to just share it. Stop pushing it down. Stop pushing it down. Stop when it gets right here, pushing the tears down. It's how we're making it visible. Cry if you need to cry. Stop pushing it down. Stop judging yourself for being in pain. And stop comparing your grief to anyone else's. What I showed you earlier about me and Erica. Your grief is yours and it's real. This grief is all yours and it is absolutely real. So you're going to cry. You're going to talk. You're going to stop pretending. You're going to talk and go first if you have to. Stop not crying in front of people. Stop judging others. Question. What would it feel like to speak the full truth about your grief and have someone actually absolutely listen? What if they gave us space for grief? What if we were given space to grieve? What if people saw you as the griever and they allowed that grief? What if you could talk to others about that grief without being judged, without your grief being compared to, without being shut down, without the subject being changed? You deserve to be seen. Your grief deserves to be seen. Your person deserves to be seen. not just for what you do, but for what you carry, the pain that you are carrying. You deserve to be seen, not just for showing up, not just for showing up at the barbecue, but because you are trying to survive something that tried to break you. Your grief deserves to be seen just because you are surviving every single day. Are you seeing it yourself? Are you giving yourself credit that you stood up today? Are you giving yourself credit in your grief that you showed up today? Friends, showing up I'm just happy if you got out of bed and you got dressed. If you only made it to the couch and you're still in your robe, I'm still okay. We need to start checking on ourselves. Even just 5 minutes a day, we need to start checking in with our heart, seeing what's going on. Name that emotion out loud. See where you are today in the grief, even if it's just one sentence. Write it, speak it, cry it. Do whatever helps you to feel. Whatever helps you to feel and process that pain. One of the ways and one of the things that I offer back into the community here is Grief Study Hall. Grief Study Hall is a great place for us to come together as grievers, to talk about our grief, to share our grief, to talk about some of the lessons that I'm teaching here in the lives. And that's what's going to be happening now. I'm going to teach a live, and then I'm going to go to Grief Study Hall, and I want to break it down in Grief Study Hall. It's what we did last week with the meaning. I'm going to add more to the lesson. I'm going to have more questions. You'll actually get the place to actually break it down. Grief Study Hall is this week at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. To join the Grief Study Hall, you click the link in my bio and click the link that says click here for hope. If you're a member of the Facebook group, which is called the Grief School, it'll be posted there, and the link will go there at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. Grief Study Hall floats Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Different times, different days. It gives everybody a chance to come. This week, we're going to be doing the lesson on Grief Study Hall is Invisible Grief. That's what we're going to be breaking down. We're going to be breaking down that even more in Grief Study Hall this week. Come and sit with women who get it. Sit with women who understand, especially if you don't have a place to share this grief, especially if you don't have a place to lay this grief. Grief Study Hall is a great place. You deserve to heal. You deserve to share. You deserve a safe place to talk. Let me say this as clearly as I can. You are not broken. You're not broken. You're grieving. And grief will change you forever. You are forever changed. It rearranges your insides. It makes you question everything. But none of that means that you're broken. None of that means you're broken. It means that your heart is doing exactly what it's supposed to do to get you standing upright and living your life again. We go back to living, friends. I know a lot of you don't want to hear that. You go back to living with your person in your heart. You will carry them with you for the rest of your life. I have Donovan, I have Austin, I have my dad, and I have Sharon. Yesterday, oh man, I should have been prepared to show this to you guys. Yesterday, my house is turned upside down because I'm rearranging a lot of stuff. So I'm working on one room at a time. And I found a box of old albums from my dad. For the life of me, I don't know how I ended up with this, but I have this box of albums from my dad. And he wrote his name on the outside of these albums. And one of them was the Silvers. Do you guys remember the group, the Silvers? Oh, I love Foster Silver. I had the biggest crush on him. I went to Knoxbury Farm to see him live, and I actually got to hug him. It was so cool. Okay. That's not even what the story was about. I pulled the box out. I was like, what the heck is this? I opened the box, and there was albums inside. Tony and I actually have a record player, so I was like going through the albums, looking at. I closed the box, put it aside, doing some other stuff, and I went back to move the box. My dad wrote his name on the outside of the box. He signed it. He actually, with a pencil, wrote Tony Honore. My dad's name is on the outside of the box. So, and it was so cool to see his signature in his handwriting. I was like, oh my gosh. So I actually moved the albums. I have the box. I'm going to cut that part out. I'm going to put it in a little frame, signature. But I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to all of my brothers and sisters so that they could enjoy it too. I say, hey, look what I found, you guys, so that they can enjoy it. And they were like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. You take your person with you everywhere. I didn't see his signature and fall apart. I saw his signature and I was excited. We call it a kiss from heaven. It was a kiss from heaven. It was what I needed yesterday. And I sent it out to everybody. When you do your much needed work, you're not broken. You stand upright and you take your person with you. You're still here. They're still in your heart. You still love them and you still try every single day. And that, my friends, is what you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to be pretending like everything is okay. You don't have to act like everything is okay. You don't have to be okay. You're not okay. You're grieving. You lost your person. You just have to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself and you have to be honest with them and you have to be honest about this pain. You have to tell the truth. You tell the truth about your grief. This grief is real. No one else is seeing it. They are seeing the parts they want to see. Invisible grief is still grief. Invisible grief is still grief. Just because they can't see it doesn't mean you're not grieving. It's just as real. It's just as heavy. And it's just as worthy. But we take invisible grief and we stuff it down even further. And then we start pretending that we're okay. And today, we can stop hiding it. Right now, you're stopping it today. You are standing up as a griever. I am grieving. This is painful. Friends, please let me sit with you in this pain. If you don't know what to do next, join the Grief Study Hall. Click the link in the bio that says click here for hope. If you're on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, the Facebook group, click the link that says Beacons AI. Join the Facebook group. You don't have to carry this alone. You don't have to stay invisible. Your grief is real and it deserves to be seen, and you deserve to be seen. Question: are you ready to let someone see your grief? Are you ready to come to a group where we can hear you, hold your grief for you? Most importantly, are you ready to allow yourself to be seen? That's in the Grief Study Hall. That's where we're going to do it. So I want you to answer this question to yourselves. You don't have to answer it here. And that this is my final question. I'm going to end, and then I'm going to hang out in the TikTok group for a minute. If you get off of this live and you're like, man, she was really good. She had some good information. That was really nice. Oh, I really needed that today. When you get off of this live, what is your plan? What's your plan for how you're going to move your grief? What's your plan for the next step in moving your grief? What's the next thing you're going to do to understand your grief? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Where do I do this? Where do I go? And if the answer is I don't know, click the link. I promise you we'll show up for you. All right, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. I truly am honored to be with you. I see you. I am you. I absolutely am a griever. Thank you, friends. TikTok, I'm coming back.